Saxon, Thoth, Viking invasion. Intruder Thoth groups, earliest Vikings, attacked the Celtic lines to eradicate Atlantean history and eliminate and spread false records about the Celts and Druid lineages. Marduk appears to have been a brilliant military strategist working in collaboration with the intruder Thothian groups in Nibiruans for serving his own satanic Black Sun lineage interests, and thus organized several surface assaults via weather cataclysms such as the Great Freeze-Out, using electromagnetic beam weapons targeting the United Kingdom landmass. The beam weapon technology was used to cause grid collapse in several areas in order to flush out and expel the remaining Celtic Grail lines that were standing as the last line of defense protecting the 11th Stargate network. This became the meaning behind the 1111 Ascension codes, as the family of Michael and universal Melchizedek family gathered to form 1111 protective energetic barriers with their unified solar dragon consciousness bodies in order to protect and defend the Avalon Stargate from total alien invasion and infiltration. When we see 1111 repeatedly on digital clocks, this is designed to activate our core spirit's memories during the ascension cycle. This acts as the cellular alarm to remember the Melchizedek's last stand for human freedom when we were invaded at the Avion 11th gate, and awaken into our higher spiritual expression so that we can support the ascension timeline for reclaiming planetary liberation. Sadly, they were defeated and captured in what is called the Michael Wars in Aldebaran and in the Pegasus constellation. This defeat is what led to the creation of the 11th dimensional Typhon tunnels and Thoth system. It appears that this is when Thoth, a former Emerald Guardian, was betrayed by Marduk. He was captured and ritually abused in such way that his organic 11th dimensional consciousness body was inverted into a Typhon tunnel system. His brain and entire consciousness was uploaded into AI machinery. He was severed from his female counterpart, and he became the AI hybridized creature enslaved by the Black Suns, forced to carry out their agendas that were directly competing with the Anunnaki lineages of the Nibiruans. Marduk and his Black Sun negative alien agenda forces subsequently cultivated the seeding of several Antichrist armies onto the planet in the Nordic regions, which became known as Viking races. Developed through warring cultures with blood sacrifice ideology, they were manipulated to hunt down the Aryans and Essene tribes in their efforts to completely eradicate any remnants of knowledge of the Melchizedek Christ teachings of the Law of One that were carried down from the Atlantean histories. These earlier Viking invasions were used to subvert history by concealing the true identities of the Celts and the Druids throughout Ireland, where they were falsely accused in written records of being the barbaric savages when describing the bloody carnage that went on during the Viking invasions. It appears the identities have been swapped out in the history books, as the Celts and the Druids were purposely made to be the targets of character assassination campaigns through assorted falsified histories used for covering up their important connections in the Atlantean histories. Imposter Elohim Group. With the fall of Merida in Atlantis, the Ioni massacre of Mua in Kauai, and subsequent events leading up to the Atlantean cataclysm, some of the Elohim, Anu, Melchizedek groups digressed into the control of the alien hybridization agendas with the invading Belial entities and Thothian Luciferians. As a result, they became integrated with the fallen entities that serve the Luciferian covenant. Thus, the Elohim references that are made in the Torah, Talmudic literature, or in the esoteric Kabbalah teachings in the Jewish religion are sourced from the fallen Elohim hybrids integrated with Belial and Luciferian factions that gave the artificial tree of life or base 10 math Sephirothic teachings to the Semitic races in the Middle East. These are imposter Elohim groups that have been exerting their control over the land of Canaan with the blood sacrifice of Christos races. They were referenced as the Elohim gods in the text written for generating consciousness slaves and the negative alien agendas, patriarchal, slanted, organized religions, those that rejected the cosmic sovereign law of one but hijacked the language and adopted the identities of trapped Elohai, Elohim in the higher dimensions. This was information warfare to confound the original angelic human language, to suppress the solar feminine Melchizedek, and replace the original cosmic Christos dragon teachings that were being protected by the remaining Hyperboreans that came to Earth after the Gaian Wars. The remaining Hyperboreans that came to the planet Earth to serve the Christos mission are of the Celtic Druid Grail bloodlines. Thus, they were hunted down and massacred by these same fallen Elohim groups in order for them to act as the imposter overlords of the so-called chosen people, the God of the Israelites, and to oversee the seeding and indoctrination of this new antichrist alien religion in the Middle East. Because of the human tribal shield affiliation and genetic relationship to the 11th Stargate network and the infiltration of the checkerboard mutation, many of the Amethyst Order Father Elohai lines have been appointed to directly rehabilitate and transit the Anunnaki hybrid fallen angelic race lines and to override their timelines that are related to the negative alien agenda. The fallen 11th dimensional lines from Avalon Gateway Invasion became the fallen Seraphim and fallen Anunnaki Elohim hybrid lines, as well as the hybridization made with fallen Draconian lines.